And after stepping back from trimming the lettering, we'll do the trucks and the steps, which the steps are actually a very important part. Because the steps you want to have be nice and tight and straight. The steps, I would almost say trimming the steps is one of the most important parts that seems like just a minor detail. A lot like as I've described the horn, that kind of thing, where the steps just need to be just very, very straight, very, very evenly spaced, again, like the way I said in the grills. And the more that you can make the steps be evenly spaced and straight, when you go over them with a brush where they are evenly spaced and straight, there's something about having them be evenly spaced and straight that just adds to that's one of the first details that even if people aren't looking for it, it's one of the details I would say that just the subtlety of it, your eye picks up, wow, this drawing is very tightly drawn because there's evenness and precision to it. So that, if I had to pick maybe 3 or 4 areas of the drawing, the steps is probably certainly one of them. And it's certainly one of them where I would say you wouldn't think about it. Because if I said, what are like 3 or 4 of the areas that you would want to work on? I don't think hardly anyone would say I want to work on the steps. But I didn't. But over time, I realized that having the steps be, and then the other thing about the steps, because there's a couple things about the steps, and I know it sounds like I'm just going on and on about the steps, but the thing about the steps too is that the steps actually have great detail in them, in the sense that, oh, here, I forgot to put, these need to be painted red, these handrails. The steps, like a lot of different areas of trains, the steps have really great detail in the sense that especially if you take a locomotive that's been on the railroad for like 20 or 30 years, the steps are a good area where people who know engines, where there have been very few modifications to engines, of like, let's say an SD40-2 or something that's just been, on a roster for whatever, when you're drawing it, it's been on for 25 or 30 years. The steps and handrails are really good indications, because if you have something like an old SD40, a lot of times when they were delivered, they didn't have safety paint. They didn't have the paint on the steps on the ends. And as time went on, they would get Okay. Just a little bit more. A few more details. And then we should put red trim around the fuel filler. And it's basically been trimmed.